Wow. Wow. Okay, YouTube. All right. YouTube is on it today. My goodness. I had to fight and wrestle to get this video to go live. They don't want me talking about it. Jesus. Everybody else can talk but me. Gosh, man. What's up, League? Damn. Oh, man. Unbelievable. Well, anyway, Sean Marks, the general manager of the Brooklyn Nets, decided in his infinite wisdom, because he had to address what's going on with the team, right? So, in his infinite wisdom, he said, well, let me sit down and do what I got to do on my end. So, he went ahead on his end and decided it would be a good idea to move forward with actually trying to address the Kyrie Irving situation. Now they kept me from coming live. I don't know why. I guess they had to set it up to where they can do some sabotage or something. But Sean Marks was asked, of course, the question he knew everybody was going to ask him: the future of Kyrie being with the Nets. Here's what Sean Marks had to say.
The organization committed to Kyrie long term. Yeah, look, I think that's something we've been discussing, and we will continue to debrief on and discuss throughout this off season. And it's honestly not just Kyrie. I mean, you bring Kyrie up, but we have decisions to make on a variety of different free agents throughout our roster. We haven't had any of those discussions yet, so it'd be unfair for me to comment on how it looks with us and Kyrie, because to be quite frank, he has some decisions to make on his own. So he has to look at what he's going to do with his player option and so forth like that. But I think we know what we're looking for. We're looking for guys that want to come in here, be part of something bigger than themselves, play selfless, play team basketball, and be available. And that goes not only for Kyrie, but for everybody here. Is the organization committed to Kyrie long term?
So that's basically what he was saying. He also spoke on Ben Simmons. And it looks like the team want to rid themselves of Ben Simmons as much as possible, rather than to keep him. Ben Simmons, as I told you, wants to go to Los Angeles. He does not want to really be in New York or the East Coast anymore. Wants to be in Los Angeles now. So, what's up, C Child? But the problem that he brought out is that it's up to Kyrie to make a decision on his player's option, which he has not made yet. So the ball is still in Kyrie Irving's court. Then the team will have to move forward on what they're going to do. Now, of course, Kyrie has all the time in the world. I mean, we're only in the second round of the playoffs. I mean, the season isn't even over yet. So there's no rush for him to make a decision if he's going to try to market or not. Don't forget to hit the like button. The super chat button works. The Cash App is Carcino, Karceno. Well, you're looking at a situation where the team that they have in place right now is a little different than what other people may be thinking about. The team you've known in the past that you've been seeing for the past 2 years might not be there. Blake might not be there. LaMarcus Aldridge, we might not see him anymore. We didn't see him in the playoffs. So, it's unfortunate. Well, a lot of people are on Sean Marks for hiring Steve Nash. Steve Nash is one of the main things that people need to make a decision about. They loved him when he got James Harden. Didn't love the idea of them getting Steve Nash. The fans were against Steve Nash, felt like this guy had no experience whatsoever and just walks into a head coaching position. And we've been talking about like white privilege and all these things over the years. And Atkinson, who had became a favorite of the fans, then Kenny Atkinson became the person that had to go. So being a general manager is a hard job. No one could take that away from anybody. But some of the decisions you got to make may not go in the favor of what the fans may feel, if that makes any sense. Well, you got to look at it like this. Kyrie Irving is in the driver's seat, meaning that he could opt in. He has a player's option. So it's up to Kyrie what he wants to do. He could opt out of his contract and still sign with the Brooklyn Nets. But they're saying they didn't say, this wasn't the truth. But notice how all LeBron pundits are now pushing the narrative of Kyrie Irving joining LeBron James with the Lakers, trying to push the narrative to push Russell Westbrook on into the to the Brooklyn Nets, trading Westbrook for Kyrie Irving, which Brooklyn would not do in a million years. Putting Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant back together again, and this time putting them in Brooklyn. That's not going to happen. So the trade bait would have to be Anthony Davis. So you're going to trade. You would rather trade Kyrie Irving. And Kyrie, I know what the whole debate is. He's not going to come into a player option knowing he's going to be traded somewhere he doesn't want to go. So if he's going to opt into this deal, this is what he's going to do, or if he can go out and test the market. Yes, I am, Felton. That might be coming today. Now, everybody keeps trying to tell Kyrie Irving what he needs to do, but Kyrie, Kyrie Irving is somebody who has basically put himself in the driver's seat. There's nothing really Sean Marks can say because of the simple fact is, if you look at it in its totality, it's not going to make a lot of sense for you to basically make plans without Kyrie even deciding if he's going to opt in or not. And that decision hasn't been made yet. One thing's for sure, the Lakers are not committed to Russell Westbrook for next season. Even though he's opted in, they're looking to move him, and he wants to be moved.
Is the organization committed to Kyrie long term?
Yeah, look, I think that's something we've been discussing, and we will continue to debrief on and discuss throughout this off season. And it's honestly not just Kyrie. I mean, you bring Kyrie up, but we have decisions to make on a variety of different free agents throughout our roster. We haven't had any of those discussions yet, so it'd be unfair for me to comment on how it looks with us and Kyrie, because to be quite frank, he has some decisions to make on his own. So he has to look at what he's going to do with his player option and so forth like that. But I think we know what we're looking for. We're looking for guys that want to come in here, be part of something bigger than themselves, play selfless, play team basketball, and be available. And that goes not only for Kyrie, but for everybody here.
Is the organization committed to Kyrie long term?
Yeah, look, I think that's something we've been discussing, and we will continue to debrief on and discuss throughout this off season. And it's honestly not just Kyrie. I mean, you bring Kyrie up, but we have decisions to make on a variety of different free agents throughout our roster. We haven't had any of those discussions yet, so it'd be unfair for me to comment on how it looks with us and Kyrie, because to be quite frank, he has some decisions to make on his own. So he has to look at what he's going to do with his player option and so forth like that. But I think we know what we're looking for. We're looking for guys that want to come in here, be part of something bigger than themselves, play selfless, play team basketball, and be available. And that goes not only for Kyrie, but for everybody here.
Is the organization?
Now, you see, notice the key word there, and be available. And be available. Now, it wasn't Kyrie's fault that he wasn't available. Oh, Kyrie was on Twitch lighting up the Boston Celtics fans.
Kyrie Irving was streaming some.
I kid you not. Last night, Kyrie Irving was letting the Boston Celtics fans have it.
$16 games in Boston, bro. I don't have to cap about me being. Yeah, that's the thing. I don't have to cap in my story, bro. This is my life story. I don't have to cap.
Listen to Kyrie going.
Cap about my life story. That's what I'm saying. You're not fucking getting it. I don't have to cap to y'all. What happened? Gordon Hayward goes down with one of the worst injuries we have ever seen. He went down with one of the worst injuries we have ever seen. You feel me? I'm not gonna respond. I'm not gonna respond to the Israel. I got you, bro. One of the worst injuries, man. I literally saw it happen live, and I had to say prayers right after that because I think we all felt the air be sucked out of the arena when that happened. It was one of the craziest things I've ever seen. So,
and it was LeBron's fault.
We lose Gordon. We spent all the preseason playing together. We spent all the preseason getting to know one another. Bam, Gordon goes down. Bam, okay, cool. Now who steps up in that? JT. Right? We all knew JT was nice at Duke. But do we expect JT to be that nice his rookie year? Yes, I did. I knew he was nice. I knew it. I knew JB was nice. And when I say JT and JB, I'm talking about Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. I knew they were nice. Did I know Marcus Smart was as great as he is now, like a potential defensive player there? Absolutely, bro. I saw it every day in practice. I knew how great these guys were and still are to this day. So, bam, we go through the season. We go on a 16-game win streak, 15-game win streak. I don't even remember what it is. Everybody was writing us off. We lost our first 3 games. Oh, my gosh, what's going on with the Celtics? Yada, yada, yada. All right, so fast forward. We go through the 15-game win streak. We end up going we end up splitting the rest of the games the rest of that season. Around game 60, my knee started acting up. And when my knee started acting up, I had to go back to Cleveland, where I got my original surgery, to get 2 screws taken out of my knee. I don't know if anybody in this chat has ever, I don't think anyone's ever, if you've ever got knee surgery and you had screws put in your knee, you can understand what I'm saying. But if you have not, I'm going to do my best job to explain it to you. I had 2 screws in my knee with wires tying in my kneecap. I got that done in 2015 after I went down in the first finals. So fast forward 2018, my knee starts acting up. They take out the wiring. They take out the wiring in my kneecap, and they test it for an infection. They take out the wiring. It comes back positive for an infection. Yeah. I now have to get a PICC line going from my bicep all the way to my heart to take antibiotics. I had a PICC line, and I still have the scar to this day, going straight from my bicep all the way to my heart. It was one of the most uncomfortable things I've ever dealt with. It was one of the most embarrassing things because my daughter's asking me, what is that in my arm? People are asking me, like, why are you not going outside? Why can't you do this? Why can't you do that? So not only did I have an infection in my knee, but they had to take out the 2 screws. And I was left with 2 holes in my kneecaps that I eventually had to fill. But just that traumatic experience alone kept me out of the playoffs. I was supposed to be back in those playoffs. I was supposed to be back in those playoffs in 2019. When we made it all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals, I was supposed to be back. But because I had an infection in my knee, I couldn't come back. So now they had to take the screws out. And by the way, these are the details the media would never never tell y'all ever, because it's all about performance. Oh my gosh, you didn't show up. Oh my gosh, you let your team down. Oh my gosh, you sold on us. Oh my gosh, you let us down. Oh my gosh. And it's like literally I dealt with one of the most traumatic experiences in my life dealing with that knee injury. So Bob, I don't need no sympathy from anybody. I don't. I'm over it at this point. I got through it. But fast forward that summer, I'm coming off knee surgery. I have muscle atrophy on my left leg. My quad looks like a small chicken wing, bro. I have no bounce. I have no athleticism. I'm slow as shit. I'm sitting in bed and I'm just frustrated. What happened after that, after I'm sitting at home and I'm dealing with knee surgery, I don't know if you've ever been injured, if anybody's ever been injured, right? If anybody's ever been injured, when you can't walk or you can't do the normal things that you want in life, bro, that leads to depression, bro. Yeah, that leads to depression. That leads to mental health issues, because when your body and your mind are not in alignment, it leads to different issues. It leads to different things that you have to deal with. So I had to deal with internal stuff. So coming into 2019, I'm already feeling like I'm myself, but I'm only a shell of myself. I am not really expressing how I'm truly feeling. So 2019 hits, right? Or 2018-19 season hits. We come back. We're predicted to win the NBA championship. We're predicted to go far in the finals. We're predicted to, you know what I mean, like win the whole thing. Like everybody's picking us number one. We have, I forgot about my boy T-Row too, Scary Terry. I forgot my boy. Like we had Marcus Morris. We had Aaron Baines. We had I don't want to forget anybody either. We had Shane Larkin on the year before, but then we got what's my boy's name? I don't want to forget anybody's name. What's my boy's name? It's slipping my head. But we had every position that was filled, man. It was supposed to be great. So boom. I go to management in Boston, and I'm like, this is maybe a week into preseason. I'm like, yo, I'm coming back. I'm coming back. I'm coming back. That's what I said. I told Boston, I'm like, I'm coming back. And the reason why I said I'm coming back is because I had plans up my sleeve, y'all. When I tell you I had plans up my sleeve, I had plans up my sleeve. I'm not going to tell y'all who I had in mind or what trade was going to happen, because that'll lead to speculation, but I had plans up my motherfucking sleeve. I was like, bro, I'm coming back. Coming back to Boston. If y'all have me, I made sure it's like, if y'all have me, I'm coming back. So I'm hyped. I say it in front of the Boston crowd. I say it in front of everybody. I tell my teammates, right? I'm like, I'm coming back. I'm signing this deal. And I only said it at that time because I was sure, I was certain, I was happy. I'm like, yo, this is about to be the greatest day of my life after the season is done. I'm about to sign whatever the shit is, right? You know what I mean? It's not so much about the money per se. I want to make sure my family's taken care of, but I was literally happy being able to get that off my chest, so I didn't have to answer any free agency questions, right? And a week later, after I'm living out a dream, you know what I'm saying? I'm happy as ever. A week later, my grandfather passes. He transitions. My grandfather transitions, and it's one of the hardest bit of news I could take in my life, because you know that man definitely inspired me beyond words. You know what I mean? Like he really impacted my life in very positive ways. And you know, it's still hard for me to even talk about, but my grandfather passing after that, I felt like I was letting a lot of my family members down, because I was spending a lot more time dedicating myself to being great in the game, but I wasn't spending enough time being a great family member. And probably some of y'all don't even know what the fuck I'm talking about. And this message will go over your head, and you know what I mean? This shit will end up going viral tomorrow, right? But honestly, it was never just about Boston. It was never about, you know what I mean, like trying to make sense of a decision I made a week prior to that. All I could do is be there for my family. And like again, I don't really need sympathy, y'all. I appreciate the support, but I had to get through it. And when I yeah, when I had to deal with that, I don't know if anybody's ever had to deal with losing a loved one, but you go through different stages of grief. And guess what I had to go through? Guess what I had to go through in front of the public eye? Me grieving. So I'm angry. You know what I'm saying? I'm depressed. I'm over here dealing with real life grief. I cried, you know, about losing my grandfather, bro. And you control and hate all you want, but it's just real shit that goes on in life where because I'm in the public eye, I can't escape having human emotions. Like somehow y'all motherfuckers think that we robots out here and that we don't feel feelings, like, and we don't go through real life circumstances, but we still have to go out and perform. So
That's right.
my grandfather transitions, and then after that we go out on a West Coast trip, and I go to his memorial, and I end up playing a game that next day. And when I tell you that for the rest of the season, I wasn't really myself, I definitely wasn't. And I wasn't having fun playing basketball as much anymore. And that started to spill over into our team goals, you know what I mean? And I'm definitely not ever a person that comes in and says, look at me and what's going on. I'm just real. And when I look back on it,
Shouts
would I
out,
have done things
Letitia.
differently? Absolutely. Would I have done things differently? Absolutely. Did I have to learn from my mistakes in the public eye? Absolutely. Did I have to deal with the consequences of going throughout the season and then making a decision to go back home and be with my family? Absolutely. But let me tell you about the positives. Let me tell you about the positives what ended up happening. I learned how to cope with grief. I learned how to cope with myself going through depression. I learned how to go seek out help from family members. I learned how to make connections stronger. I learned how to admit to being wrong in situations where you feel justified to be right, but really you just got to move on in life. You just got to put one step in front of the other. That those are some of the positives, and the other positives are I really learned more about myself and what makes me motivated every day to get up. Because if any of y'all know anybody that's dealt with losing a loved one, you can deal with suicidal thoughts. You feel me? You can deal with suicidal thoughts. And that's just one of the things of grief. Like you don't want to live here anymore on this earth. And that's the realness of life. You feel me? That nobody wants to talk about. And it's not it don't and by the way, don't come at the fan base either. Don't come at their fan base. It's all good. Let that rock. You know what I mean? Because I'll get that in a minute. But throughout that season, 2018, 2019, I'm dealing with all this. We end up going into the first round against the Pacers. And we go into the second round against the Bucks. And it was just a different level, bro. It was a different level of physicality, it was a different level of focus. And us as a team, we were still really young. We were only in our second year together. If we all stayed together for 5, 6, 7 years, then I'm pretty sure that who knows? Y'all can speculate what would have happened, but that didn't. You know what I mean? We had two small years together, and I'm judged based on 2 years of being with a team and then leaving that team to go to my hometown to play. And all of the speculation, all the shit that gets thrown on my name, I feel like, again, people just hide their hand all the time. So I had to learn a lot once I left that point in my career. Being in Boston taught me a lot. I definitely dealt with a lot of, shall I say, overt and over the top racism, even being a player in Boston. I'm not saying that Boston's racist. Don't ever fucking quote me in saying that shit. All I'm saying is that the reality of the situation is I dealt with a lot of shit that I never talked about because if I wasn't performing up to their standards or expectations, let's just say words were flying everywhere. You know what I mean? And then on top of that, the way that they were treating other teams, and not just in basketball, but in other sports and other entertainment venues, it got to be too much. And I couldn't defend that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna say that I'm not gonna say that it was comfortable for me, bro, because it really wasn't. It was very uncomfortable for me. So towards the end of the season, it just got worse and worse and worse and worse. And then I had to make a move to go back home and be with my family. And that's what it is.
And that's what it is. So now you know what happened. Kyrie Irving decided to take his own narrative under control. And today, Sean Marks decided to say, we want people that's going to want to be here and be available. It's like, whoa. But notice all LeBron James pundits now are all pushing for this Kyrie Irving coming to Los Angeles Lakers to join LeBron.
A few weeks ago on Twitter, you jokingly put out a tweet, Russ for Kyrie. Yeah. Well, strangely enough, when Kyrie had the whole COVID thing going on, there were rumors of Kyrie being traded for Russ. Yeah. So what do you think the chances that LeBron ever gets his old teammate back?
Oh, I don't think Kyrie and LeBron are teaming up again. I think that it would be great for both parties. I think that Kyrie in his career, has played 9 games in the playoffs after round 1 without LeBron alongside him. He has played 0 conference finals games without LeBron alongside him. 0 NBA finals games without LeBron alongside him. And now Kyrie's out here talking about a 4-year dynasty in Brooklyn. I think it'd be better if they could put together 4 good weeks of basketball. But the problem with Kyrie and KD is neither one of being your 2 best players. You need somebody who knows how to lead a group of men, which in sports matters. And Kyrie and KD, for how brilliant they are, how brilliant KD is as a player and how brilliant Kyrie is as an offensive player when he can be bothered to play. They've never been leaders.
Now, you got everybody now talking this Kyrie joining LeBron. These are the same people who've been bashing Kyrie Irving since him and Kevin Durant been in Brooklyn, since he was in Boston and left LeBron. They have been bashing him. And all of this Kyrie coming home to play with LeBron narrative, all of this started coming out of nowhere. The legitimacy in this is 0. The only people that brought this up was all people that are connected to LeBron James. Why? To keep LeBron's name in the press while the playoffs are going on. Notice how nobody is talking about what really they should be talking about. Oh yeah, you saw I was working on my boxing moves. Yeah, it was some chump talking about he want to box me, some drunk alcoholic bum thinks he thinks he can box with me. I gotta make sure I'm on point. So whenever the situation come up, before that drunk bum start coming up with a ball in his hand, ball, let him go, let him go, let him go. By the time he take one swing, he gonna get hit with like, it's gonna look like 16, 17 punches from nowhere. Oh, he down. He's down. He'll be out. And then he'll realize this was a bad idea. He just hoped they got it on camera. Did they get it on camera? That would be a very bad idea for that man. Just to him talking about it is hilarious. I'm not gonna fight the drunk. I feel so bad after the 15th lick. I'd be like, man, I want to break my hands on the bone. He'd be out there like Mitch Green. All I said was, yeah. And he punched me in my Now, they won't talk about, though, what Jenny Buss just said about the Lakers. See, everybody keep thinking it's all fun and games. But no, the Lakers are about their team that is not owned by a conglomerate, which means that this is it. They're a family-owned business. All the other teams are owned by conglomerates. When you're owned by a conglomerate, what you're going to do and what you're going to be able to do as far as NBA and as far as anything else, meaning that you make your money elsewhere. This is another money maker for you, but it's more of like saying, okay, I got something that I can pass on to my family, but we make money in other areas. This here, sound like my homeboy. It looked like it. Yeah, he just cut his hair. Yeah, my neighbors went and poached him, took my damn landscape. So now he got to cut their grass too. It's more money for him, but get your own damn landscape. Okay, well, there too. But see, here's the thing. So the Lakers have to go to the playoffs. See, for the Spurs, winning those championships were great. But the Spurs thing is, let's get to the playoffs. have a good enough team to go to the playoffs. Plus, they keep their salaries very low. They're not in the luxury tax. So they're making money. The Lakers thing is they have events set up. They're not selling out home games. If you're not in the playoffs, that's when the celebrities show up. And if you're not having the celebrities there, then you're not having other venues that you have in events that's in the actual Staples Center now. If it's not there, it takes away from that worldwide appeal. What are they going to do in the summertime in LA? Oh, they're going to go to the state. And the Lakers don't want to lose no more of their money to the Golden State Warriors. Because the Golden State Warriors took all their bag. Steph and Clay. So all those celebrities, they going to start going, they taking their hands to Golden State. They moved it from Oakland to San Francisco to make it more convenient for the celebrities. They bought this $1 billion stadium for the celebrities. Shouts out to Ed Kwame Brown, Bus Life. That's right, Bus Life, real sports and news. Shouts out to Welcome to HDTV. Follow Ticket TV, Blood Boxing, 78 Sports TV. And of course, follow me if you want. You know, you're here right now. You might as well hit subscribe, you know. What's a good punch to throw in a fight? Any punch that lands. That's the goodest, greatest punch. Yeah, like I get in 1,000 fights or something. My greatest gift is avoiding a fight. If my best defense, no be there. Don't get in a fight. I know I've never lost a fight, and when I had to get in a fight, it was bad news. It's bad news for anybody that's involved. It's bad news for the person I got to fight. It's bad news for me, because this is going to derail it. And if I beat up, like this one guy kept trying to fight me, wanting to fight me, thinking like I was afraid of him. And I'm like, I'm not afraid of you, dude. I would walk through you with ease. You're nothing. But if I beat you, I got to deal with your cousin, who's a gang member, who's crazy. So I'd rather avoid you and not deal with you. Well, he kept trying to push me to fight. So one night I said, all right, I got enough witnesses here. To that. Now, when I beat him, mop the floor with him, y'all can tell his cousin, this man asked for it. He asked for this, did nothing to the man. And he backed down because he realized he could not, this was not the, whoa, it's actually finna go here now. Damn, I don't think I'm ready. And once he tried to push by me to get into the room, and he couldn't push me. He wasn't strong enough. And he felt like, well, damn, this dude's stronger than I thought. Maybe I can whoop his ass. And at that time, that was probably one of my peak conditions. You were never going to beat me. And I knew it. And I was just like, this is going to end bad for him. And I'm just thinking about the fallout. I ain't thinking about him. I'm thinking about, I got to go talk to his cousin. We got to get this situated right away, because I ain't trying to have my house shot up because I done whooped his cousin real bad, who was asking for it. But he didn't. Like, I mean, Kyrie talked about mental health. and how important it is, and all of these different things he was going with. And they have counselors now and grief counselors, but mostly for professional athletes. And what they see from African American players, if Kyrie was white and said it was the mental, I'm going through mental depression, everybody would have came to him. Oh my God, he's going through something. He lost a family member, and look at what he went through in his life. They would have made a damn swan song documentary, 10 minutes, talking about his mental health and interviewing mental health doctors, everything. Nope. He black. Man, get your butt up, man. You can play. Nothing wrong with you. So they don't care about how you feel. Because we've been conditioned to not care about anybody who is black with mental issues. They've even convinced us that when a black person say mental issues, it's like, man, deal with that shit. The Brooklyn Nets tried to keep Jared Allen. They couldn't. They tried everything. The trade could not happen without Jared Allen. But Jared Allen's problem is he can't stay healthy. But why are all these pundits now talking about Kyrie joining LeBron? And people, it's shocking. People are like, wait a minute. Why would you want to do that to LeBron? You see Kendrick Perkins done changed his whole shirt. I think that him playing with LeBron, it'll bring back those old days when they was in Cleveland. And no, y'all want him to come save LeBron. That's what you want. You criticize the man all while he left. Like, LeBron don't need him. Look what LeBron doing without Kyrie. Okay, he ain't won a championship since him. I ain't counting that bubble crap. So he needs Kyrie. But according to y'all's statement, he don't need Kyrie. Kevin Love had mental collapse, saying he mentally was depressed playing with LeBron James and the Cavs. Nobody questioned his toughness. They felt sorry for Kevin Love. They did a whole little documentary thing, played the violins. He checked himself into a hospital and went right to after the game, before the game, didn't even come back in the game, went straight to the hospital. Nobody rode Kevin Love for his mental health. They didn't say, man, get up. Ain't nothing wrong with you, Kevin Love. They ain't do that at all. Now LeBron want Kyrie back to save his ass. Oh yes, my cash app is Carcino. Karceno. Absolutely. Why would Brooklyn want to take Russell Westbrook and put him with Kevin Durant? That don't sound smart. So who would they trade? Anthony Davis playing with Kevin Durant. They both play in the same position. That don't make any sense. So you're talking into something, a reality. Can't work. And it won't work. Anthony Davis doesn't play power forward. He's listed as one, but he's not. He's a small forward. They play the same position. Look at where they get the ball. Same position. When it comes from LeBron's pundits, when they're the ones to bring up the conversation, when you see Perkins bring this up, you see Nick Wrong starts talking about it. You see Shannon Sharp bring it up, or you see any of these other guys who basically the pundits. But LeBron is not really, he can't really do Shannon Sharp like that. He might give Shannon Sharp some info behind the scenes, but nothing really to lead off anything. He's gonna send his Brian Windhorse and put them rest of them guys out there. Yep, we got Nick Wrong, Brian Warhol, Regina Jefferson. And then Perk. Is Melo still going to the Nets? From what I heard, he's going to the Nets. I heard that while he was playing with the Lakers. When he was playing with the Lakers, Melo was supposedly talking with KD and them like, I'm up out of here. I'm out of here. I want to get back to New York. I want to get back to the East Coast. Where is Zach LaVine going next year? I don't know. A lot of people saying the Portland Trail Blazers, one of these other teams, but who want to spend hundreds of millions of dollars? He ain't going to the Lakers unless they have to trade somebody for Westbrook. If they stupid enough to bring Westbrook over there with DeRozan, that's never gonna work. Yeah, Melo believes so too. So having Melo, Kyrie, and Kevin Durant. That ain't too bad. Well, the Nets might be losing Seth Curry, who might go right back to the 76ers. So he could be right back with Doc, but Doc gonna be like, they don't want me no more. I'm out of a job. Doc gonna be out of a job, unfortunately. You see all that injury stuff. We need to evaluate. We can't do all that stuff. That only happens when you're white. When you're black, somehow you're supposed to get the victory anyway. So Joel Embiid goes down because he's soft. Like last night, I thought they were gonna bring him a pillow. I'm like, did they just bring this man a pillow? And I thought they ripped his face off or something. It's like he barely got touched in the eye. He's rolling on the floor. I'm like, man, he must got whacked. I look at the play, dude barely touched the mask. Like, he started rolling on the floor. Some dude brought like a pillow under his head. I'm like, what the hell going on here? I'm like, what is happening? They put a pillow under this dude's head while he crying. I'm like, is he going to bed on the court? Like, what is happening? Then they looking at his eye, and I'm thinking his eye came out or something. I'm like, did his eyeball pop out? What's going on here? This dude he has a broken bone in his face. I know, hence why he's wearing a mask. But y'all act like he got hit in the doggone face and on the mask. He got poked in the eye. Rolling on the floor. I'm like, man, then he all that to stop crying and come back and play. It's like they pat him on the back. Okay, I'm gonna play now. I'm like, he just did all that crying like he got popped. I've seen people get shot. They didn't act like that. Charles Barkley. Man, that sounds like something Chuck could say too. Man, I've been kissed. Kenny, Shaq, I tell you, I've been kissed harder than that. Yeah, my thing is, where's James Harden? Well, James Softon. James Softon. That's what we always call him. If people are dissing Doctor Strange too, they just want attention. What's there to diss? The movie was great. James Softon. Pot Belly James. Pot Belly James. Pot Belly James. Pot Belly James. James Softon. James Softon has continued to do the same things every playoffs, every time it's a needed or a big game. You know you cannot depend on James Softon. He's going to come up small. Not part-time, not some of the time, but all the time. Kendrick Perkins called it right down the middle. Yeah, he called it, I'm cutting it right down the middle. He can't even cut that down the damn middle. Oh, yeah, you must be new here, Kevion. That's James Softon. He been James Softon for years. And it ain't changed. That's why he got to play with other great players, because he's only a role player. He's not a franchise player. He's a role player. Back then, he could play. He can get you 50 in a regular season game, 50 and 15 assists. He got 50 points, 15. He's a beast. Playoff start, 16 points, 10 rebounds, 7 assists. That ain't bad. Could have scored more points, but hey, we lost. Yeah, well, I almost did good. All right, we win, you lose, This guy don't have it in him. I know, right? Hit the like button just for that, right there. So go ahead and ask any questions you want. The floor is yours. Don't trust those ranking systems. That's all done by politics. ESPN means top rank. So they'll take a top ranked fighter and put him up there. I've met Billy Corgan before. And I didn't know until people walked past, like, do you know that was Billy Corgan? From Smashing Pumpkins. Oh, okay. I saw he was bald. Who should be the next coach? They should have Mark Jackson. A lot of people didn't agree with that, but I think Mark Jackson is the perfect coach for them. Moon Knight was whitewashed. What was whitewashed about it? Am I excited for Kendrick's new album this Friday? Yeah, after hearing him rap, man, it was like, man, that was the hard part 5 was incredible. Lorenzen's Wright's wife parole denied. Of course, it's denied. She didn't get no parole. Took a life of a good man for his money. An African show with no Africans. Well, you got to understand, Moon Knight comes from an actual comic. So they're using the people that they actually used in the comic. They're using people from that era. But yes, all of the people back there were not really their complexion. When you're talking about the people that they're talking about, the Egyptian gods, Alexander the Great. And today, we're going to educate you on a lot of that. Oh, it's going to be a lot of that. We're going to show you your history. It's funny you brought that up too. Because we're going to show you artifacts you probably haven't seen before, you probably seen before. We're going to be showing you true Egyptian gods, what they really look like. The reason henceforth why they were blowing noses off, desecrating artifacts and hiding them so you don't know who you are and the importance of what you are. Well, see, Yeah, that's why they brainwash as like that alcoholic drunk try to talk about my nose. Yeah, your nose. My nose is from African kings and queens. I'm proud of this nose. That's right. My nose got lineage. It goes back. My nose come from royalty. True royalty. That's King Tut's mother. Oh, we gonna get into all that today. Y'all ready? We going to school on the Patreon today. On the Patreon today. We finna go into all of it, baby. Y'all finna get an education. Everybody talk about strategic conquerors. This is one of the greatest conquerors that ever walked and ruled for longer. Nobody did it. Nobody did it like him. Dude was ruling nations. They don't talk about him. He sat on the throne for 54 years. We gonna go to school today, baby. We gonna learn. That's what that post Patreon finna do. You finna learn today. Right? They don't show you these tones. You never seen that before. They never showed you that tune. Yeah, on the Casino for Life Patreon, we're gonna roll right into that. We're rolling right into it. Bringing Stack 5 as a coach? Are you kidding? No. Do you, Mitch, is it true that you can't see? Are you blind? Do you see that in this house? When you listen to drunk alcoholics, that's what happened to you. Luke Walton will be the next. If Luke Walton walk up in there and get a job again, man, walk right into coaching, man, they should get up and leave. People should just say, that's it, I'm leaving America. I still ain't listened to Push album yet. Don't seem like nobody listening to it anyway. Oh, of course I'm going to see Top Gun too. I'm going to the early premiere, so it's already set up in stone. So hopefully I'll see y'all on the Patreon live stream where we go ahead and give you an education on history. I mean, shoot, while we're here, we might as well do that now. Let me set that up and get ready to jump on the Patreon. So if you on the Patreon, you finna get your education on. All right, one.